Okay, so we've already covered forage in another video, but again, to go back to that layer cake idea of each layer getting slightly smaller and slightly less important for the foundation of your horse's diet, the next layer is concentrates. And concentrates are the grain or the sort of base of the bucket that you're giving to your horse each day. So this is where we can really start to get into some more technical nutrition advice and some differing opinions out there. I like to think of concentrates as merely a chip for your salsa. So it's just a vehicle to get the supplements in, and maybe there's a little bit of nutritional bump one way or another in that concentrate, but its primary reason for being in the bucket is to help facilitate the supplements getting into your horse's diet. So there's two main types of concentrates. There are complete feeds, which typically senior feed or there's many brand names out there that offer a complete grain, and then there are single ingredient. So the thing with complete feeds is that they're really designed to be fed exactly as the label indicates. And so what that means is you might end up having to feed several pounds a day in order to meet the needs on that label. And if you're feeding less than that, then you're going to be causing deficiencies in your horse. And if you're feeding more than that, or you're feeding additional supplements on top of that, you're going to be causing potential toxicities in your horse. So it's really important, if you're feeding a complete feed, that you follow the instructions on the label. The problem with that is that a lot of times horses don't need all of those calories or all of that sugar that's in the complete ration of that feed. So I tend to prefer to use single ingredient sources. These are things like beet pulp or bran or hay pellets, and when fed correctly, these don't necessarily need to be a significant source of calories, especially if your horse doesn't need extra calories, but they can still help facilitate the absorption of all of the other supplements that we're going to be adding, which we'll get to in the next video. So, for example, beet pulp, when fed in small quantities, is really going to be negligible in your horse's diet. But if you did need extra calories, beet pulp is a really great source of both fiber and a little bit of sugar and complex carbohydrates that can help add healthy amounts of weight to a horse that needs that extra boost. Also, bran, either wheat or rice bran, can be, again, a great source of complex carbohydrates and fiber, but it also has some of the B vitamins that tend to be lacking in our horses' forage, because B vitamins tend to be deficient in our soils these days, as well as deficient in, they can be lost in the processing of hay, and so adding them back in with something like a bran mash can be really beneficial to a lot of our horses. And then, of course, hay pellets are a great option if you don't need those extra calories and you just want to keep it strictly a vehicle and no other added health claims. Hay pellets can be a really great option. You can soak them. All of these things can be fed soaked, which can also, in some cases, help increase our horse's water intake just slightly, though not enough really to necessarily count if your horse is severely dehydrated. But the thing that I want to be really clear about here is that there is very little, if any, evidence that feeding a mash of any kind can, again, like I mentioned, increase hydration or prevent colic. These are kind of old wives' tales, and there is no real scientific backing behind those ideas. So if you're feeding a bran mash or beet pulp, you're feeding it, again, as a vehicle to get either extra calories or other supplements into your horse, and that's really about it. For more information about building a complete diet for your horse, download your free Build Your Bucket workbook below, and make sure you look out for the other videos in this series where we've already covered forage, and I will link that video here, and then we're also going to be covering supplements in the next video of this series here, and then we're also going to be